Aledo and Matherville, right there is what we're looking at. Let me see if I can make sure if anyone's a little confused of what I'm talking about here. This is the rotation we're looking at. Right there, okay? That's just north and east of Aledo, all right? So that's kind of what we're keeping an eye on. And once again, if we, as long as the speed and direction hasn't changed, we're kind of looking in this kind of fashion right here, okay? So let's see, did it come up? Yeah, I think it came up just for a second. And I'm gonna, let's see, let me try this again one more time here. Let's put this here. And I think the rotation is just west of Aledo, and I go all the way down here and then move it out in this general direction. I think that's the area that we're watching here. So Matherville, less than 5 minutes for you when that possible rotation will be on top of you. Now, I don't think, with the exception of guys, the deputies over at the New Windsor Fair who saw that rotation, we haven't heard anything more than that. Just getting a report from Alex over at the Weather Service. The rotation, not all too great, but still enough to maybe drop down a tornado. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. This is also moving east very slowly, around 15 miles an hour. So not only are we dealing with rotation with this, but we're going to get some pretty good rain in areas around Aledo to Matherville and even around Viola with this system as it continues to make its way off to the north and east. So anyone who's just joining us right now, kind of dangerous situation here. We got to make sure that you know, people are protected, property is protected too, because we're dealing with a Saturday afternoon where I know people want to get out and about, but especially with the New Windsor Fair, rodeo that is taking place, and we certainly want to make sure that people are safe as well. We heard that they have evacuated the rodeo itself and the events that are going on as of this time. So that's something that I think was very wise for the officials out there to do. Now we can go back to reflectivity here. Reflectivity is basically showing where the rain is, where the thunderstorms are starting to grow. And we'll just make our way from south to north, making our way through where the warnings are taking place, like I said, for another 6 more minutes or so, okay? In fact, let's do this. I want to make sure that we got the right one out there too, okay? I'm going to move it out just a little bit more. Okay, just want to make sure. Yeah, I thought there was a little bit of a mess up here on the timing here, 2:45. So 2:45 is when this warning will be in existence for areas like around Matherville, Preemption, and even around Viola. So we have at least a good 50 minutes or so before this warning is eventually allowed to cancel, to expire. The reason why this is going to continue on for at least another 35 minutes or so is because of the movement, moving very slowly around 15 miles an hour. So we're getting some lightning, we're getting some pretty good rainfall in parts of Mercer County here where that possible rotation is taking place. So be advised about that. Some quick ponding can't be ruled out given the slow movement of this particular storm. Now going just south of that warning, you can see a nice little cluster begin to pop up right around Seton and Mercer County, just west of Little York. We'll keep an eye on any rotation here, but no questions, a very heavy rain is taking place. Some nice lightning going on around the Seton area as well. Now let's go north of the track and more importantly, make our way around the immediate Quad Cities. Now we got the Wine Fest that will be going on this afternoon. I think it has already started down in East Davenport. Let's not forget, we've got the Pops concert that begins, I believe, gates open at 4, concerts at 7:30. So the faster we get this wave of showers and thunderstorms out of here, hopefully the better for especially that event going on this evening. So you can see you've got a nice little cluster of some showers and thunderstorms that are going on around the immediate Quad Cities, some of that producing some of that heavy rain. And then a little farther north as you go, just seeing some pretty good showers. Nice little rumble of thunder going on just west of DeWitt. And then even farther northward as you get into parts of Carroll County, some scattered showers that are taking place. No lightning with that, thank goodness, but some pretty good rainfall nonetheless. And then just outside of Galena, noticing some shower activity as well. This is all taking place around a spiraling area of low pressure located just out to our west. So we're definitely getting some decent shear as you make your way from the surface aloft because of this very tightly wrapped area of low pressure, not producing a whole lot of wind, but it's enough that we could see these brief little spin-ups. Like I mentioned to you earlier, we did see a couple of tornado warnings in northeastern Iowa, but those weren't able to extend mainly because that the structure itself, from the surface to the base of the cloud itself, wasn't really very compatible. So that is why those didn't extend even farther. This is really the first tornado warning that we're seeing in our viewing area where it has extended from where it originally started just southwest of Aledo and now making its way into eastern Mercer County. Let's go ahead and just check on that velocity one more time, and we'll zoom in here. We always want to keep an update on that velocity because keep in mind, because if the structure is not really pronounced, then I think we'll be in pretty good shape. There's still some broad rotation taking place. Hopefully when the next update on this may give us an answer as to what could be expected for towns east of preemption and even around Viola. And we're talking about towns such as around Orion, even around Woodhall itself, Sherrard, Alpha. That's what we're going to have to keep an eye on. But right now it doesn't seem too structurally sound, which is good. You can see a little bit, and let me get my little circuit. It's really coming down hard outside. That is, wow, it's really coming down. This is the circulation we're keeping an eye on here, folks, okay? And that is moving basically off to the north and east. And it's moving very slowly, like I said, around 15 miles an hour or so. And so if we, once again, let's go ahead and put a tracker on this. I know the sirens are going off in Matherville. I know the sirens are going off in Viola, likely around preemption. So if this holds together, and let's extend this as far as we can, even going around Orion and even around Andover, you can tell it has a ways to go. I'm really questioning, though, the timing of around Orion. It says, 20 minutes or less. This little cluster here is moving really slowly, so it may not be for another maybe half hour or even 40 minutes before we actually see that part of the storm make its way in that particular area. So I wonder if it hasn't, with the algorithms, hasn't set the tone as to the timing of that. But I would really give it another good half hour at least until that part of the storm makes its impact around Orion and Andover, if it still has some of that broad rotation with it as well. So that's kind of what we're seeing here with these particular storms. Let's go back real quick to velocity mode here, reflectivity mode, okay? And once again, if you're just joining us, this is the tornado warning that is out until 2:45. You can see there are two warnings out here. The one around Aledo goes until 2:15, and by looking at the clock, that should be ending. They should be allow that warning to expire, but keep the other one going just maybe for a little bit longer. I wouldn't be surprised if they canceled this warning or allow the warning to expire before 2:45, given what we just recently saw. So that's kind of what we're going to have to keep an eye on here. Let me see if I can actually get into mode where we can show this moving, the actual storm itself. Okay, remember, this is all spinning around an area of low pressure, which is now located pretty much right on top of Cedar Rapids. So as these storms that are east of that low, that's producing these showers and thunderstorms and possible brief spin-ups as well. Keep in mind, too, for hometowns just north of the Quad Cities, okay, there is enough cold air aloft that we could be dealing with some of these cold air funnels. National Weather Service kind of gave people in northeastern Iowa a chance to say, heads up, we could be seeing some brief cold air funnel clouds that could be taking place just because we have the right conditions. We have maybe some good spinning taking place near the base of the cloud itself, but not so much as you get to the surface. So these would be like just very brief spin-ups that we see along the base of the cloud, and then they briefly go back. Funnel clouds, at least these kind of cold air funnel clouds, are not, rarely do they ever touch the ground. But if they do, they can cause some minor damage. And the type of wind that you would very likely get from these cold air funnel clouds would be maybe around 60 miles an hour or so. So very minor damage, maybe to shingles and things like that. So they are at least allowing areas along the river and points west that possibility of funnel clouds popping up, especially around northeastern Iowa itself. Everett, I was wondering if you could do me a favor. Can you update your monitor here and we can find out what's going on? How about this? You can actually tell me what we're seeing or hearing from our friends at the National Weather Service. So again, tornado warning out until 2:45. That's the only one that's out. Hopefully we'll be getting some information from them regarding the extension of this warning. There's not too much really going on. Let's see, what we're noticing here from Alex over the National Weather Service, confirmed multi-vortices from some of the chasers that are out there actually right now. They say, while rotation has weakened, this is coming from Alex again, our friend at the National Weather Service. While rotation has weakened, concerned basically about the shape of the activity that we're seeing on this particular radar. And they just want to continue on. They're concerned that we could be seeing maybe some more warnings popping up until the rotation has pretty much been diminished. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. To a few tornadoes. So that's probably why they extended this warning out for this particular line that we see here, this area across eastern Iowa, or excuse me, eastern Mercer County. Okay, and you can see the lightning that is kind of hugging right around the area just north and east of Viola. Once again, that is where the possible rotation is actually taking place with this particular line. Otherwise, the farther north as you go, we're seeing some showers, a few embedded thunderstorms around the immediate Quad Cities, and a nice cluster of some activity going on just south of that warning around Seton and Little York as well. We haven't seen any type of change as far as the velocity with this. South of Viola and such, like right around Little York, you can see right here, maybe getting some I guess, how we call it, some rain-cooled air that's coming down in areas around Little York. That's why we're seeing a little red right here. So we're probably getting a good rush of wind from those storms that we are noticing in extreme northwestern Warren County. So if you're watching us in a Lexus, be advised about that. I think you may get a good rush of wind from that part of the storm. But this is the area that we're keeping an eye on. Once again, we will go back to network. I know we've got the Little League baseball game going on. My apologies. And I know we want to kind of see how it's going on. Fortunately, the game just started there, so there's plenty of baseball expected when we go throughout that game. So we got plenty of time to actually go back. Hopefully this is going to be the last warning that we see as we head into this afternoon. Let's see here. Local storm report, and this is coming from probably one of the chasers, just 3 miles northwest of Viola. Train spotter reported tornado about 2:05. And of course, this is an old report. That was 15 minutes ago. Reported multivortices with a particular tornado in the cornfield. It was kicking up a little debris as well. Started to become rain-wrapped again at the end of the report. Okay, so that was indicated about 15 minutes ago. We have not too many eyes out there, at least when it comes to chasing the storm itself. So that's why we're relying on some of the eyes out there to kind of give us an indication of what is actually truly going on. Let's see here. Also, 2:20. Okay, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Wanlock. I hope I pronounced that right. For our friends in Wanlock, I apologize for the pronunciation. That's actually 7 miles east of Aledo and is moving to the east at around 15 miles an hour. So that's kind of what we're keeping an eye on here, folks, is making sure that if there is something that's being picked up from this rotation itself, then there's a big concern. Now, hopefully, we're going to be seeing this warning, which has another at least 20 minutes to go, hopefully we'll begin to kind of lose some of that rotation. Fortunately, we're not seeing much as far as, I mean, given the direction, not heading, like targeting places like around Sherrard and Orion like we see right now. But these could wobble just enough to the north or south that it could impact some of these towns. So that's kind of what we're noticing outside. Let's see here. Let's see. I want to go back to our reflectivity mode if we can here. In fact, let's see what we got here. Hang on, folks. Let me see what I can get here. I'm going to check on the shear that we see here. Shear, once again, this is speed shear, directional shear combined. And you can see there's some pretty decent shear that could potentially help produce any more future rotations east of the river itself. But you can see that we were talking about eastern Mercer County. There's still some pretty decent shear that could still take place within this broken line. Once again, this is back to reflectivity mode, and this is the broken line that we continue to keep an eye on. You can see at least throughout this broken line, several clusters of some thunderstorm activity going on. One outside of DeWitt, looks like more of a heavy rain event around the immediate Quad Cities, and then just northeast of Aledo, going to northeastern Mercer County, and then extending its way farther south, right along the Mercer and Warren County border. We're seeing a nice little cluster of some heavy rain and even some pretty good lightning as well with that. I did mention the fact that we could be getting a good rush of wind from that part of the storm itself, right near Little York. There could be even a severe thunderstorm warning that may pop up with that part of the line. Let me kind of make my way back in here. And you can see that's the line we're keeping an eye on. This is just south of the tornado warning itself. From Alexis all the way down to Little York, this could be leading to a good rush of wind. That may be having winds around 40 miles an hour or so. You can see there's actually a little green as well, and that could be indicating some of that wind that may be rushing behind the line itself. We just don't want this part of the storm northeast of Aledo to show some shearing, and that can potentially lead to maybe some rotation as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on this area that we see here, just north and east of Little York itself, okay? Tornado warning, once again, continues until about 2:45. That's another 20 minutes or so. Fortunately, we're not seeing the rotation like we saw before. That is some good news, but the Weather Service is still want to keep an eye on this. These have a tendency maybe even try to recycle itself as well. But like we've been seeing in past storms, we see these brief touchdowns, and then things kind of settle down a little bit as rotation makes its way back in the cloud itself. So it's all about the structure of the shearing that's taking place, or the spin from the surface to the base of the cloud itself. This is the one that has been kind of holding its own throughout the past, I would say, 45 minutes or so. And that's why we want to keep a real close eye on this storm as it continues to make its way off to the east at around 45 miles an hour. You can see once I put this into motion, you can see it was just around outside of Aledo that you did see some nice spinning going on. And it looks like it may be starting to show signs of winding down a little bit as far as its spinning or its shearing. So that would be some fairly good news, but we got to get some. We have some eyes out there that are going to keep an eye on, anything that may be actually touching the ground itself. So that's why we have this warning going on for just a little bit longer. No question, we're getting some really good rain out of this. Once again, this system that's moving in from the west is drawing up some tremendous amount of moisture, and this is going to allow some pretty good rainfall in some local areas that maybe add up to a good half an inch or so. We got let's see, looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's out. It's not for the line south of Viola. It could be just outside of the area, and that's way out to the east. Okay, that's good. Okay, looks like they just added a warning out in areas off to the east. That's around Putnam County. So the good news here, folks, they went ahead and they did that. So the good news here is the tornado warning is over with in northeastern Iowa, but keep in mind, you are still going to get some pretty good rain out of this, some good lightning. There could be some isolated power outages out of this as well. Just want to quickly, we're going to do this. I'll let the guys in the back know. Let's go about 1 minute, guys. We'll go back to network. We'll go back to network, given the fact that the warning for northeastern Mercer County has come to an end. But just to let you guys know, once again, here's the line that we're looking at. Some lightning here and there. Some of this cloud to ground could get some isolated power outages. And I think once this line moves on by, then the rest of the afternoon, the coverage should be very widely scattered. And then eventually begin to show some of that coverage really diminish even quicker as we head into the early evening hours. Make sure, once again, if you want to keep an eye on the storm, all you have to do is go to our StormTrack8 weather app. You can go to the News 8 app. It can once again give you the latest on how the storm has been behaving in the past hour or two, and more importantly, it can show you the future of what this line is going to do as well. Good tool to have, especially during these conditions that are taking place across the area. For more weather information, go to our website. That is WQAD.com.